I call this meeting of Lake Mary Toastmasters to order. The mission of the club: we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. At this time, please silence all your electronics. Members and roles, pass your CL manual, competent leadership manual around to another member for evaluation. Who would like to do mine as evaluator today? Anyone willing? Jorge, thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. And welcome to the Light Turner Toastmaster for this morning, Erika B.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. If you haven't noticed, on your seat placement, you have some eggs. Today's theme is going to be Easter.
You're right.
Please do not eat these eggs. You can use them as a prank, and as you can see, they're cleverly designed confetti eggs.
Yeah, I know.
Who brought the vacuum?
The first recorded celebration of Easter was in, anyone? The 2nd century. The 2nd century was the first recorded celebration of Easter. Easter, known as Pascuas in Spanish, or Pax in French, through a translation error, later became the word Esotarum, which eventually became the word Easter in English. So as you can see, the word Easter was not supposed to be Easter. It started out as Pascuas. I'd first like to introduce our technical table, starting with our timer, Jody Swain, or Smith.
I am actually the odd counter today.
One for you. All right, well, let's see what's out there. I'll get it right by the end, I promise.
It's such a serendipitous experience to move. Hey, the purpose of the odd counter is to note words and sounds used as a crutch or pregnant pause by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections such as and, well, but, so, you know. Sounds may be I will also be listening for double clutches, such as I, or what does this mean? This means, thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce our timer, James Bishop.
The timer has a very important function of assisting the Toastmaster in keeping the meeting on schedule. Each segment of the meeting is timed. Speakers. During a speech, the timer will operate an iPhone, watch, and 3 signaling devices, a green, a yellow, and a red card. With 2 minutes remaining, the green card will be shown. With 1 minute remaining, the yellow card will be shown. With all allotted time used for the speech, the red card will be shown and remain on until the speech is completed. Table topics. For table topics, each person who is called on will be given 1 minute. The green card will be shown when at 30 seconds elapse. The yellow card will be shown at 45 seconds, and the red will be shown when 1 minute is up. Evaluators have 3 minutes to complete their assessment on the assigned speech. The green card will be shown on at 2 minutes, yellow at 2:30, and red at 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, James. And last but not least,
first, but not last.
Last but not least, Diane Minikowski as our grammarian.
Mistress Toastmaster, I don't know how you say that, and fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I am the grammarian. I am here to help all of you express yourselves clearly and concisely. I also am here to introduce some words to you, which we'll get to in a second. Today our word is serendipity. And to comment on exceptional or egregious language, possibly, of the English language. Now, the word of the day is serendipity. And I've noticed that when we put up a word of the day, a lot of times you just put up one form of it instead of just one part of speech, and then people try to use it so they have a lot of mistakes in the other parts of speech. So today I put in serendipity, which is a noun, and its derivatives, its adjectives and adverbs. So serendipity is an unsought, unintended, or unexpected but fortunate discovery or learning experience that happens by accident. It's a combination of events which are not individually beneficial, but occurring together produces a good or wonderful outcome. It's also good fortune or luck, although it's not usually used just as an interchange for luck. It has to be something that becomes good out of something that was bad. For example, missing the bus that day was true serendipity, as the man who offered me a ride in his limo is now my husband. Then there's serendipitous, the adjective, and serendipitously, the adverb, which means occurring or discovered by chance in a happy or beneficial way, as in a serendipitous encounter. Good, beneficial, or favorable. Serendipitous weather for a vacation. Come upon or found by accident. Fortuitous, one serendipitously finds something by accident. And here are the sentences. On the same day as he uncovered the gold coins, there was a serendipitous jump in the price of gold. It was upon one of his walks at night that, to his surprise and delight, he serendipitously found the watch he had lost on the previous night. So please try to use those words, or you're going to be owing 25 cents to Stephany today. Use them properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. I'll be sure to make note next time I make a former teacher the grammarian. When she chooses the word of the day, you better use it, because she's going to make sure you understand. I'd next like to introduce our first speaker, speaking from the Confident Communicator Manual, Project 6, Ernst or Basic.
Good morning, Toastmasters, fellow members, and honored guests. I think we have 3 guests today. Serendipity is the word. I think that's tough sell right well into the speech I'm going to give you. The subject is going to be how to prepare for the perils in your life. And I had the speech before, and I'd like to give you a definition of the peril, the possibility that you will get harmed or killed if something bad is going to happen to you, which causes injury, pain, or suffering. Let me explain you. Crazy things can happen to all people, good or bad, rich or poor. And more often than not, we are not prepared for it, which then causes financial harm to the family members, to the friends, and even to the state you're living. It is a fact that life will go smooth most of the time. However, life can change on the dime, in a New York second, like a lightning bolt coming out of the blue sky, like you're getting hit from the left field. You're leisurely promenading on one of the downtown boulevards in any town, USA, and you're getting killed by an object falling one of the buildings. Or, like it had in Russia last year, where a meteor broke through the Earth's atmosphere, killing and maiming people. Or better yet, you're getting killed or seriously injured by a texting driver driving through a red light. Now, these are things which you cannot be prepared, you cannot prevent, but you can prepare for the life-changing events which will happen after. Let me give you a couple of more examples. This happened to be in Maribel in the French Alps, which is a great, beautiful skiing area. In fact, the 3 major valleys converge into one, making this one of the most sought-after skiing destinations for the rich and the famous. Michael Schumacher, who is a 7-time world championship winner for Formula One race cars, together with his son John, were preparing for their 10th downhill run of the day. They decided to ski down a less difficult slope to the valley. John skied first and Michael followed as they were winding themselves down the valley. All of a sudden, John decided to cross a 200-yard out-of-bounds area, which was not manicured like all the other slopes were, and littered with rocks and boulders, to ski down a more difficult slope just beyond the 200-yard out-of-bounds area. Michael Schumacher was very safety conscious. He was a great skier. However, the helmet he was wearing was not enough. As he crossed the out-of-bounds area, his right ski hit a rock hidden beneath the snow, which caused an immediate stop of the right ski, while the left ski continued at normal speed, causing a sudden, immediate forward catapulting of his body, hitting his head into one of the boulders, splitting his helmet, splitting his skull, splashing blood all over the place. Wow.
Yes.
Within 20 minutes, Michael Schumacher was in the intensive care unit at the Grenoble Hospital, where he has been in an induced coma for the last 4 months, with his future being uncertain indeed. You don't have to ski to have crazy things happen to you. There's this mother of 5 in Sugar Land, Texas, driving home her 3 children in an SUV, they're all strapped down. She stopped in the front of the garage, opened the garage door, and saw a toy laying there. She got out to pick up the toy when she realized the car was continuing to drive. She ran back and was crushed to death by the car door and the wall, the garage door wall. Now, all these incidents are things which happen in life which you cannot be prevented, which can't be prevented. However, you can prepare and have to have these 4 things in place. Number 1, you have to have a living will. So you can decide whether you want to be kept alive as a vegetable for the next 20 years, serving nobody, and robbing your bank account, the bank account of your friends, relatives, and also the bank account of the state or the county you're living in. And number 2, term life insurance, which is very cheap for young people. So when these things happen and you do get killed, it's your own fault. Or if it's not, at least your family members have money to continue with their life. What's that, Joe? And number 4. And number 3, I'm sorry. We got the joke. Number 3, health insurance. Obamacare, Affordable Care Act doesn't make any difference. You should have health insurance so you're not there with nothing in your hands when you arrive at a hospital. And number 4, disability insurance. Now, if something happens to you and you need to be supported by someone the rest of your life, at least you're not living in the state facilities together with all the indigents. So ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I'm a realtor. I don't sell any of these policies, nor do I do living wills. There are attorneys here, but he's not here today. So I say this for your own good. Go home, look what you have in place, and if you're missing any of them, make sure you put them. Because there's one thing for sure, perils will happen. Madame Toastmaster, fellow members, you have a great day.
Now we have coincidence you bumped into this podium. Thank you for that wonderful speech. I'm sure that one of the insurance companies would love to pick it up because I'm now traumatized.
Totally.
Oh my goodness. Look at my agenda. That was scary. Thank you. Good job, Ernst. Our next speaker, let's take a moment for evaluations. Yeah, I'm discombobulated. I don't want to go skiing in Princeton.
You just haven't done it
A
too
minute on the
ago.
clock for the timer.
Oh, okay.
A minute on the clock for the timer.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to change the tone of the meeting by just having a funny fun fact about Easter and serendipitously, although it wasn't intended to be a sugar high type of holiday, it's actually a religious holiday. Over 90 million chocolate Easter bunnies are sold throughout this season, throughout the world. I'd next like to introduce our second speaker, speaking from the Success, Communication, and Leadership series. The Toastmaster series contains presentations to help develop and provide practice in various communication and leadership skills. Most modules last between 1 to 3 hours. We will spare you from that today. The modules can be used inside the club to enhance member skills, in companies to increase employee skills and promote awareness of Toastmasters, and in the community to enhance the general public skills and to promote awareness of Toastmasters. Julia will be conducting a seminar on how to conduct productive meetings at her workplace this Thursday during a Lunch and Learn segment. Please welcome Julia Kaufman as she provides an excerpt from the presentation. Speech titled, How to Conduct Productive Meetings. Julia Kaufman.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our guests.
Morning.
I imagine when I look around this room, at everyone in this room, and I add up the number of meetings everyone has ever attended in their life, I reckon it's in the thousands. Would you agree? I'd like to see a show of hands where you think meetings are unproductive and a waste of time. And those of you that have attended a really strong meeting and it was well worth it, raise your hand. All right, so the serendipity of meetings is really not by chance. It takes planning and thought when you are working on scheduling a meeting at work, or whether it's a Toastmasters meeting, you're working on the agenda, it takes planning. The Toastmasters series on leadership has different presentations, and what I'm going to take today is an excerpt of how to conduct productive meetings. And I'm going to focus on the section of planning a meeting. In the workshop, it covers the 5 elements of what makes a good meeting. It covers planning a meeting, it covers opening a meeting, it covers how to handle a meeting and concluding it, and then evaluating it. I want to focus on planning a meeting. There are 5 basic steps that any good leader takes when planning a meeting. The first one is to have a focused statement on what your meeting's about. Think about your purpose of the meeting. Number 1. Then you want to select your participants. Think about that. Then you want to find your location. inform your participants, and then schedule an agenda. So let's talk about each of those steps that will make planning a meeting very easy and yield results. The first one, and you're stating the purpose of your meeting, should be very clear and effective. Shouldn't be vague. And when you think about meetings, most of them are just a very simple name. So here's a vague statement of a meeting purpose. We're going to meet this afternoon to talk about Toastmasters meetings. You're wondering, well, I know it's Toastmasters, but what? What are we going to talk about? Okay, you don't really know what's going to happen. A better, more effective statement would be, we're going to have a meeting this afternoon to talk about themed Toastmasters meetings for the next 3 months. Now you know exactly we're going to talk about themed meetings, and we're going to plan for the next 3 months. That's a really good statement. So that's stating the purpose effectively. The next step 2 is to select your participants. Seems like a no-brainer. You know you want to have a meeting, you kind of know who you want to have to participate, but your participants really make or break a meeting. You really want to think clearly, what can they contribute, what can they add, what's their knowledge value, and is it going to be interesting to them? So as you're thinking clearly about your participants, think it through and select them wisely. Your next, step 3, is to find a location. Most of us in a workplace are very limited. You might have 1 or 2 conference rooms, so meeting locations you're restricted to. However, just know that your meeting room can really add or lend to the type of atmosphere for the meeting. It could add distractions. So if you have a small, cramped meeting room, you may want to have it off-site so that you can really have a comfortable atmosphere. You also want to think about the layout of the room. Is this a instruction-led meeting? Is this one to create collaboration? You might want to put it in groups, have round tables. Depending on what you want out of your meeting, you should think about how you want the room set up. So location is really critical in how you prepare for your meeting. And then when you inform your participants, all too many times, raise your hands if you've ever been called to a meeting at the very last minute. Most of us have had that experience, and it's really offsetting. It really leaves you irritated because you've disrupted your plan for the day. You're not prepared for the meeting. So the meeting is already off to a bad start because you are not prepared. You really need to plan ahead and inform the participants in advance. Usually when you get an advance notice, they tell you the meeting name, they tell you the time of the meeting and where. A really effective meeting invitation is when you also add what you're going to be talking about, what you expect to get out of the meeting, and also how long that meeting's going to be. And then if it's around the lunchtime, the afternoon, if there's going to be refreshments, that's just added bonus to really let people know what to expect at your meeting. And then last is to develop your agenda. In our Toastmasters meeting, we run a really good meeting, and it's really all because of the planning the Toastmaster does, like Erika did this morning, or actually prior to her agenda. She had it thought out, she made sure she had all her participants ready, the roles, and then when she came in, all of the agendas were passed out. That makes for a really effective meeting when you have your agenda. As you know, in our own Toastmasters meetings, that agenda is so important, and by taking these 5 steps, stating your purpose, selecting your participants, finding the location, having a proper agenda, you as leaders will have a well-planned, a value-added meeting that lends results. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
symbolize fertility and renewal. Did you know that in Russia, there was once a jeweler by the name of Peter Fabergé, and he was commissioned by a Tsar to design jewelry-encrusted eggs for his wife, because a lot of people go without something during the Easter Lent season. Therefore, they're eating those and tasting those things for the first time. So eggs became popular as gifts in the earlier 17th, 16th centuries. I'd next like to introduce our third speaker, Ms. Stephany Bonnie Bird, with her title Speaking from the Speeches by Management Manual, Project 5, Despite Our Best Efforts. I don't have an introduction for you, but I can make it up.
I'll present my own introduction.
Yes, please do.
This is the second in the series of speeches by a branch manager to the employees, the staff of that office. There's been recent changes, some of them unsettling. Last week I told you that they were going to be opening Saturday and doing more work, doing a proof, and now we found out that the bank has taken an even more drastic turn. Yeah. Staff, as you know, the atmosphere has been rife with rumors. Bankers Republic is closing. No, it's selling. It's getting rid of its branches. Well, this morning, as best I can, I will dispel as much of the mystery as I can, with your understanding that no official notice has yet been offered. Bankers Republic is not going out of business. However, it has made the monumental decision to sell off its retail business, going back to its roots of trust banking. This means that, yes, the branches are going, the retail business, the lending, the credit card, and their operating systems. They have decided to sell to 3 of the remaining Big 5 banks and to one new kid on the block, People's Republic. Now, despite its name, People's Republic is a commercial bank, and it shares many of the philosophies and operating systems that we now adhere to. It has been an ongoing struggle for the banks to remain profitable since deregulation acts went into place. The thrifts, loans, credit unions are offering products that heretofore were the domains of the commercial banks. They have been vying for our customers' business and offering them things even to their own peril that will attract deposits, but they can't retain them. There are branches now in their system and ours that share the same footprint. That means that there will be strategic closings on both sides, some of theirs, some of ours. What will determine this? I have yet to understand it all, as it is still in the planning stage. This branch, however, is not slated to close. Good news? Yes. But that does not guarantee that we're safe, because we may well have to post for the jobs that we currently hold. Now, don't look so glum. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You've done everything right here. You've retained business as well as attracted new deposits. But despite our best efforts, bankers, as we know it, will cease to exist. I understand there may be some very attractive packages in the offering. If this comes up, it's best to grab them initially rather than later, because it will cease to become attractive as more people jump on that. So you see, there could be a serendipitous offering in spite of all of this gloom and bad news. I will continue to bring you updates as I know it. I think this press is going live this afternoon. I know you have lots of questions, and I will handle them as they come up with what has been officially given to us. Now, it's almost 9 o'clock. Let's get ready to greet our customers. Down Toastmaster.
Let's have a minute on the clock, please.
Oh my, yeah.
I bet you didn't know that the Easter Bunny is not celebrated throughout the world. In Switzerland, eggs are delivered by a cuckoo bird. In parts of Germany, kids are waiting for the Easter fox, chick, or rooster. I would next like to introduce our table topics master, Mr. Jorge Friggles.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. This portion of the meeting is where we call upon people at random to answer questions that they don't know is coming and practice and work on our off-the-cuff speaking, making connections very quickly in our head to answer these questions on the spot. So, given that a lot of people have roles today, don't be surprised if you get called on. Anyways, almost everybody is fair game today. So first question for today is, eggs are very symbolic of Easter, the holiday as a whole. What is your favorite thing to do or make with eggs? Mike?
My favorite thing to make with eggs is scrambled eggs. Sometimes I make an omelet, sometimes I add a little bit of spinach, sometimes I add a little tomato. Either way, I make it to what I like to eat because it is absolutely delicious. Thank you.
If the Easter Bunny was unavailable for this Easter holiday because he was skiing with Michael Schumacher, he's all right, he has Aflac. What mascot would you like to see replace him for this season? But
Mr. Table Topics Master, I'm so happy you asked that. Because as much as I like the Easter Bunny, there's one character that I like a whole lot more, and that is Charles Schultz's beagle, Snoopy. I could not be happier to get Easter presents, an Easter basket, even a chocolate Easter Bunny, which I would ravenously eat, from my favorite kind of dog and my favorite dog, Snoopy. Thank you.
can you explain the art of blabber spiking, Stephany?
Sure will. Here's an example of it. Going on and on and on about something that you may know something about or nothing at all, but making it sound as though you know something about it. In other words, it's a nice way of saying bullshit.
Love it.
Easter tradition? Diane.
My favorite Easter tradition is when, even though my children are young, or not young any longer, I like to get Easter baskets for each of them. I like to make yogurt-covered raisins and yogurt-covered peanuts and all different kind of colors, and get little chocolate bunnies and little gifts and stuff, and make an entire basket for each of them so that they can come, or I can send it to them in the mail, and they can have a little Easter basket for Easter. So that's my very favorite thing to do for Easter.
Those of you from the last room called upon for the impromptu questions, I know they can be nerve-wracking.
I did well.
I would next like to introduce our general evaluator, Bud McKechnie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I love the serendipity of the new agenda format. Did anybody notice the new agenda format? I haven't seen this before. I'd love to see my name in print, and there it is. And everybody else's too. I hadn't seen this before. You do? Okay, not everybody does, so I congratulate you for using it, Erika. Now, I would like to call upon Kerri B, who will evaluate a tremendous speech just given by my friend, Ernst.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and especially Ernst. Ernst's speech was from Project 6, Vocal Variety. The point of this project is to use your voice, a voice that is pleasing to listen to with proper balance of volume, pitch, rate, and the use of pauses to enhance the message. I thought you did a very good job of this, Ernst. You had a good use of pauses and forcefulness with your voice. On this point, though, to accentuate the louder and emphasize the more forcefulness, you could use a little bit softer. That was a little missing from your speech, because then it would have made the points you were making even bigger. However, I did love your topic, and I loved your examples. And however, towards the beginning of your speech, it might have been good if you mentioned that you were going to get to 4 points before you went into your examples. It almost seemed like the majority of your speech was about your examples and not the 4 items you need to make sure that you have. But I do think you have a great presence when you speak, and I love that you incorporated previous lessons from your projects, especially the use of your body language. Thought it was fantastic. Left your speech, and I can't wait for the next one.
Well done, Kerri. It's now my pleasure to welcome President of the Club, Stephen Morgan, who will evaluate Julia Kaufman.
Thank you, Master Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters guests, particularly Julia. You finally gotten to that point. When you get into the Advanced Communicator Gold, you have to eventually do one of the seminars in order to get that designation. And you're going to be doing that on Thursday, hoping that's going to turn out real well. We got that one particular excerpt from it today, where you decided to focus specifically on the planning of the meeting. You had an engaging opening, specifically asking us to use our imagination, asking a question, getting a response from the audience to get everyone focused and engaged was a great way to get started. Of the suggestions I can point out, there was one particular use of language, I'll usurp the grammarian for a moment, that actually made me cock my head a little bit when you were using the word offsetting when I think you meant off-putting. Hey, I think I just did usurper. So I think your use of offsetting was making me off-put. You did have a good use of specific examples, which is very helpful in making your point, particularly where, with the purpose, instead of just talking about Toastmasters meetings, you turned around and gave us a more better specific example of talking about themed Toastmaster meetings for the next 3 months. Just telling us that a more specific purpose is not as helpful as giving us an example of how to make it more specific. That was very effective. To expand on that further, what I would suggest when you have more time available on Thursday for the longer session, find a way to put in a few anecdotes. When you start talking to us about how many of you have been in any of those particular meetings, you could, I bet, come up with a few meetings and tell them as little anecdotes that we could all relate to, and that would bring us in even more so. And the more we're brought in, the more we're going to get out of the particular presentation. Along those lines, though, what you did do well is made it very personal, in that you, since you were talking about Toastmaster meetings, you brought in specifically the use of our agenda here and Erika's own preparation that makes this meeting effective. Those specific personal examples, talking about the people who are present and the specific things in front of us, particularly tie us all back in much better. With all the preparation you've already done, I'm sure your meeting is going to go quite well with your presentation. If I can get there, I'll try to get there, and hopefully anyone else who can will as well. I do know what it means to get to this level and what kind of effort it does, and Stephany keeps nodding her head up and down over here because she's done it as well. It's definitely achievement to be commended, and I'm hoping to see that Advanced Communicator Gold and the Distinguished Toastmaster coming very soon.
It was perfect serendipity that our third evaluator didn't show up this morning, and we are now lucky enough to have Alexandra evaluating Stephany Bonnie Burns this week.
Stephanie's speech this morning is project number 5, delivering bad news. The objective of this project was deliver bad news with tact and sensitivity, organize a speech, and obviously conclude with a pleasant note and maintain the audience goodwill. Stephany, I believe that I will give you check mark for every single one. You cover all the topics and objectives of the speech. You use neutral word selections such as alternative, could be, here's what the bank could do. And I noticed that the appreciation to the group was expressive, and you assure the team here that even though the bank will be closing, this branch will remain open. I heard sincerity in your tone and serendipity experience for the group, besides the fact the bank will be closing, like I mentioned before, this branch will remain open. Your tone was honest, and I believe it was truthful, like it came from your heart. Like I felt like if I was working for you, I would be very much not happy for the situation, but appreciative the way you delivered the message. I believe the speech also was effective, and you used the indirect method, in my opinion. You began with a neutral statement about the bad situation. You logically explained the reasons. You stated the bad news clearly and concisely, and you closed with a positive statement. That's my evaluation.
Now I'd like to call upon our panel of experts sitting back there at that long table at the back to give their reports on the various aspects of our meeting, the technical aspects. So I would first like to call on the ah counter, Jody Swain.
Bud, thank you. For our speakers, Ernst, just one that I counted when you mentioned the garage door. You were trying to figure out what you were trying to say. I think it was just very slight. The garage door. Diane, just one for table topics, table topics. And Kerri, I heard one double clutch and one off. And Alexandra, just one and one Bud, that's all I have.
Obviously, didn't make very much money today. When I think about when I finally leave this earth, I'd like you to know that I want to die peacefully in my sleep, like my grandfather, not screaming and yelling like all the passengers in his car.
Terrible.
The meeting went pretty well. I'll give you a brief. Oh no, wait, we still have one more, don't we?
Two more.
Two more. Oh yes, Grammarian, Diane.
Somebody asleep at the wheel up there.
It's like my grandmother.
Okay, so I have a lot of notes. Probably too many, and I didn't have enough time to sort it out. So therefore, I'm just going to start out with who used the word of the day correctly. Erika, you used the word of the day. Ernst, you used the word of the day. Julia, that was questionable, but I will take it, okay? Stephany, you used the word of the day. Bud, you used the word of the day. And Alexandra and Jody used the word of the day. So everybody else who spoke that didn't, you owe 25 cents to Stephany over there. Now, I think it's after, don't put it down. Okay, Erika, it was good. I like that you used like the illusion of Peter Fabergé, or whatever his first name was, or whatever. Stephany, you were talking about, when you were introducing what you were going to be talking about, and you were kind of explaining what you were going to do in the book, you said, now we have found out that. And it should have really, it's in the past tense with the present, so it really should be like, then we found out, or we have found that, whatever.
I'm sure it's in the email.
I also like that you said write with rumors. I thought that was really good. And you also used one new kid on the block, and you described it as People's Republic. I liked also how you did a lot of question and answers. What will determine this? I have yet to determine. Good news, yes, you answered it yourselves. And then I liked the last thing. This press is going live this afternoon. That was really good. Then, let's see. I know I'm going to go over my time like always. Ernst, like a lightning bolt falling out of the clear sky, was great simile. Less difficult slope was a really good choice of words. You also used sudden immediate catapulting of his body. I thought that was great. A couple of things though, in a couple of occasions, you didn't use the correct tense of verbs. And I understand you have a different language. But you said she run back and was crushed to death, and it should have been she ran back. So just watch your tenses a little bit. But you had a great use of your words. Julia, the questionable thing was the serendipity of meetings, because you just added that, but it's okay because we could use that. I liked how you said you have a focused statement. You had a good level of vocabulary throughout your speech. You used good adjectives and adverbs, lots of descriptors, which was very entertaining and gripping. So, let's see, what else did I put about you? I also had the offsetting and the off-putting. Am I doing something wrong? I had the offsetting and the off-putting, but he beat me to it. And then one thing that you also did that was possibly not good, and you said, and then last is to blah blah. You probably just should have said then or and. I liked how you restated the 5 steps that tied it all together. It added a lot of value to your meeting. Okay, then Jorge. You said, well, is this not supposed to be? Is this wrong?
No, you're good. You got the time. Take it, girl.
This is my teacher background. Sorry, I apologize. The portion of the meeting is where we always, oh, wait a sec. I don't remember how you said it, but it wasn't exactly correct. And then you also used the word anyways, which is not a word. You said anyways, so anyway, you said. Mike, you said either way, but you named like 3 or 4 different ways, and either way is if you only use 2. So. Anyway, any of the ways or whatever. Okay, Stephany, I liked how you said going on, and I like that you said it's a nice way of saying bullshit. I thought that was impressive. But you, throughout all of it, you had good use of both active and passive voice. I thought that was really good. Kerri, you said, I did love your topic and example. Wait a minute. Oh, you said it might have been good to whatever. And I think maybe good, a lot of people use good a lot instead of using the actual appropriate word that would describe it. It's just a little thing. And then I liked how you used a great presence. I thought that was really good. Okay, Stephen, you said when you're getting to something, you didn't say the correct word getting. I wanted to find him on something. I had to find something. But I liked how he said that she had an engaging opening, and then he continued to explain how it was engaging. I liked how he said to expand on that further, and then when he did the challenge, you could, I bet. I thought that was really good and interesting, challenging everybody. Alexandra, okay, the only thing, I found a couple things, and I know it's a language barrier, but you forget to put the to, like the infinitive for the verb, when you say, the objective of this was deliver instead of to deliver, so you just need to work on, that's just English, and it's just a language barrier. And then, I liked how you said, oh wait a minute, no, that's not you. Okay, I'm on my over?
Yeah, wait.
Oh, and you said I would be no happy for this, and that was good. Everybody did a really good job with their vocabulary.
Oh.
I'm over.
That was a very extensive report by a delightful, beautiful,
You should
magnificent,
love that,
eloquent grammarian.
Well, it's too much, huh?
I'd like to tell the guests that every week we have a different, the whole technical table changes every week. So next week, if you're here, you're going to get different versions of, not the same thing, but different ways of critiquing what they saw up here at the lectern. And this is where we feed back on each other, and we give support to each other. It's just one of the most beautiful clubs I've ever belonged to, truly. Now I'll call on our third member of the technical table, it's now his time to tell us about our time, Mr. James Archbishop.
Thank you, bud. Want to make sure I keep this quick and fast. Speakers, Ernst, you were right on time, 6 minutes, 36 seconds. You had allotted 7.5 minutes. Julia, you had allotted 7 minutes. You did 6 minutes and 4 seconds. Stephany, I don't know if you have a stopwatch in your head or something because you were spot on. 5 minutes and you did 5 minutes on. We'll go to the evaluators. Each evaluator made it on time. 2 minutes for Kerri, 2 minutes 52 seconds for Stephen, and Alexandra, 1 minute and 45 seconds. Mike, 24 seconds for your table topic. Bud, 43 seconds. Congratulations, on time. Stephany, 30 seconds right on. And Diane, 35 seconds. And that is the time.
And brief.
I had makeup for me.
Now it's time for me to give a little evaluation of the meeting as a whole. And then, as a whole, I would say the meeting was fantastically well done, and I really praise Erika for it. The agenda had 2 errors in it. I'm sure everybody caught them. One of them was referring to Jody as Jody Smith. He was a little bit incognito today, but his real name is Swain, in case anybody wanted to change that. And I think that the closing remarks at 8:27 will probably be given not by our vice president, but by our president, Stephen Morgan. Am I correct? Yes. So not yet. Not yet. No, not yet. So those are two corrections to the agenda, which you might want to make use of. And then I would like to tell you that I think the introduction to our speakers could be a little bit better, and that's a joint effort both by the speaker, who should give the introduction, pass it on to the Toastmaster before the meeting so she has it, and also it's up to the Toastmaster, of course, to read the introduction, or as you said, you could make one up if you don't have one. But a good idea, whenever you're giving a speech, to give a little brief introduction, either about yourself, or even better, a little more background about your actual speech that you're going to give. It'll just warm us up toward what's coming, and it'll sort of get us started. A little note about the lectern. Oh, I would like to say this, that Julia's introduction was out of this world. And that was a combination, I think, of both the speaker and the Toastmaster. And I want to give kudos to both of you for such a great introduction. That's the way it should be done. And you've done extremely well. Okay, sometimes we give a speech with the lectern, as I am now, because I have to read from the notes. And other times we get somebody like Ernst, who is capable of getting up here in front of everybody without the lectern and giving a speech. When that happens, it's the responsibility normally of the Toastmaster, not just to move the speech a little bit to the side, but to get it way out of the way so we're not bumping into it as we walk back and forth. And then when it's time to bring it forward again, bring it right up to its original position. That's just a minor point. That's the only thing I could find that I could think of to improve what your magnificent job, Erika. And in line with that, your marvelous theme with the good props paid and a good background about Easter were totally inspirational, Erika, and I congratulate you again for that. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce the one, the only president of our Toastmasters Club, living in the state of Oregon.
1 minute to squeeze this all in now. I first would like to hand out the icebreaker ribbons that have been missing for a couple of weeks now that we found them, because we did have a couple icebreakers over this past month. So Diane and Mike, if you please come forward. Good job for doing those. Congratulations. That was the hardest speech you will have today. Just getting it started. The schedule for next week has Gus listed as Toastmaster. The scheduled speakers are Diane, Paul, and Jorge. Diane and Jorge, I assume you'll be ready.
Yes.
Then Stephanie's going to take it.
I need to finish
Within the time limit.
If Paul,
If Jessica's.
Or Jessica's.
Jessica's not listed for next week.
You redid them.
I'm looking at the one that says that I had last week. It had, oh, I'm sorry, Diane took Jessica's spot. That was set last week.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, we just saw that.
Okay, so how?
Table topics, Master Bud.
I can do it.
Okay. General evaluator is listed as Pablo. He will probably not be available. You want to do that one? Okay, Alex. Evaluators, Kerri, Stephany, and Ernst. Ernst and Kerri, you okay with evaluator next week? Yeah, Ernst, okay. Stephany, obviously, you step up, someone else will step in. Mike is Grammarian. Sure. Okay, Susanna's listed as timer. I'm listed as Akana. Oh, that'll be fun. We'll bring you fun. We do like to ask our guests what they thought of the meeting. If you'd be willing to tell us in brief, we love feedback. We shall. You can start over here. What brought you? You can stand. If you don't want to, you can pass. But if you want to stand up,
Say what you thought about the meeting. Stand up. You can do it.
No pressure, but I really enjoyed it.
All the people were charming as usual.
Hi, thanks for letting me sit in on your meetings, or meeting, I should say. How I came about Toastmasters. A good friend of mine told me, well, as you can see, I have a problem trying to get it out.
We all do.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's why want to be better at speaking. I do a lot of, with my job, I do a lot of speaking, and I get tongue-tied, and I don't want it anymore. I just want to kind of move forward, something better.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's why I'm...
Perfect place.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for allowing me to sit in.
In the back, we got a couple, if you'd be willing to tell us what your feedback, or what you thought of the meeting.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My name is Mark McDowell. I'm a Lake Mary resident for the last 10 years. I saw a little announcement for Toastmasters in Lake Mary Living magazine. It's good to see a few of you again. I was here in January for the first time, and I'm looking forward to getting started with the program. Thanks.
My name is David Peraza, and excuse me for being late. I was at the other Panera Bread. I didn't know there was two of them. But I'm a DJ, so I'm in front of a lot of people all the time, but I'm playing music, so I don't really have to talk. And I just started a job with Aflac, so I'm going to have to start
Together with Ernst.
They're going to have to start talking to people all the time, so I just need some practice, and the guys from Aflac told me Toastmasters is a place to go. So that's why I'm here. Take one too, yeah.
Good morning, my name is Rowan. Actually, study was, it was interesting, or I think it is befitting to have an environment where there's smiles and support, as everyone is seeking to grow, to improve their skills. It's just very important to have that kind of environment where you can feel accepted and supported in the way to reaching your goals, which is in this case a lot of the goals I see is speaking better, being better at speaking in public. So I basically was just not looking at the content of the information, but what is the environment that is in place? Is the environment supportive to the individuals in the group? And I thought that was a good environment. So thank you very much.
As a reminder, division contest is April 27th. The district conference is May 16th, 17th, and today is the last day before the 119 price goes up for that conference. So make sure to sign up today if you intend to attend. By any means, I'd suggest it. It's a lot of fun, at least for the contests. 8:34, it's time to get going, so we'll see everyone here next week.